So it's giving him a whole, really, it's like a whole 7-course meal of light and sound to nourish the part of the brain that does this work. I guess I'm still talking, so you probably are recording what I'm sharing with you. And the music is beautiful, and the sounds, and typically the research on binaural beats shows that well, they're not pleasant to listen to. Let's just put it that way. So Garnet Dupuis is the person who developed this, and he loves music, and so he's layered in all of these different specific synchronous beats that and sounds that and frequencies of sound that really don't sound very pleasant, but they're underneath the music, so that you don't hear these glottal, yucky sounds or clicking sounds or whatever. It's low enough that it's like you don't hear it, but it's in there.
So this way it kind of brings it out. So this will kind of bring like a balance.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's what we're doing with this particular program. But there's amazing programs that we use to help people who are addicted to alcohol or different drugs, programs for children with ADD and ADHD, programs for top-level executives who need to be at their peak and they've had a hard day, and they know that if they do something like this, they can, and they have an important meeting, they'll be functioning at a whole new level of intellect, quickness of mind, being able to be funny and, do all the things they need to do, but very, like on purpose. There's specific programs that support one in being more focused, more directed, having more attention. But there's also programs like we're using right now with Richard that takes you more into a more diffuse place where you're seeing the big picture, the softness, the relaxation. And there's different parts of the brain that have to do with that, and specific programs. I can show you the programs and we can talk more about that. So, we can actually spend a little time, if you like, with the computer and looking at these different programs and how they work. But I find that gets pretty tedious for people that don't want to really spend time studying. It's just great to know that you can work with bringing the focus in, bringing the focus out. So like you have this camera here and you can bring the lens into just focusing in, if you wanted to, on Richard's red nostril, But you can also bring it out and zoom it out and, get the whole room. So our brains can do that too. And there's times when we need to be focused to be able to study something and really take it in. But there's other times when we want our brains to just open up and just receive information. So when people are more interested in meditative states, there's a whole series of programs in here specifically for helping to attune oneself to a deeper meditative, more expansive state rather than in a focused independent state. And those wide open states actually help to create the exhale that's so important for us to be able to get benefit from the inhale when we focus in on that little piece. There's also some really beautiful things that we like to do after a session, and we choose a couple of different things, or maybe just one thing, for someone to do to help deepen their session and help their body remember it. Our brain is totally connected to our body, and our body is totally connected to our brain. So when we exercise our bodies, we exercise our brains. Being sedentary and being a couch potato is not a good thing for our brains. And I just listened to somebody who had severe Parkinson's, and he basically has no more Parkinson's symptoms, and he's in his 80s. Oh, wow. And he had Parkinson's for 50 years. And his The only thing he does is he walks as fast as he can every day. It started out really slow, and every day it got better, and to the point where he brought his total focus onto what he was doing, onto his walking. He can't talk at the same time or do other things at the same time, just total focus on walking and walking as fast as he can. And he does an hour every other day. And he has taught this to hundreds of people who are actually beginning to turn around their Parkinson's by walking.
Wow.
And he's not even doing any medication. He's taking a few supplements, and there's supplements we know that are really wonderful for these things as well. But I think if he knew about using, in particular, the nasal light for him when he was walking, that would be an amazing addition to getting that extra added support of function. But for people who can't afford $150 for a nasal light, then they can just walk. And walking with a conscious awareness of your cross crawl, and one foot, what the foot's doing, what the leg's doing, what the arm's doing, because there are places in the brain that has to do with that. That walking really crosses the midline and helps the brain integrate movement. So just walking is a natural cross crawl. It's not a big one. Okay, so typically what we do is we allow people to rest and just integrate for like 5 minutes or so after their feast they just had, letting them digest. And most sessions will do 2 or 3 programs. So, or compositions is what Garnet Dupuy likes to call them, is compositions. So, but today we're just going to do this one with Rich, and then we do something that's kind of fun. I have a splitter for the headphones, so we'll put both headphones on, and we'll lie right next to each other and do programs together.
Oh, neat.
Yeah, it's really sweet. So, anyway, that's what we have going here so far. And then when Rich is done with his relaxation time, we'll get a little idea from him, and I'll tell you how I would have set up the process, because I didn't actually set it up with Rich in front of you all. I talked to him beforehand, and then what we do afterwards.
Okay.
For now, if you want to take a quick peek, though, you can move your camera over there to my Zaz machine, and I do a Zaz with people sometimes. So, how was that for you?
It's really nice. I'm remembering our first session there with Garnet, and how much I enjoyed that. And of course, people can watch those YouTubes as well from his. But it's a worthwhile experience if you've never had a neurolight session. Back in the 70s and 80s, I bought all the little less expensive devices with the headphones and the glasses that had the flashing lights, and I learned how to do the alpha, beta, delta, theta wave programs that those had on it. But this is a whole different level. I wish there was a way to show you what the lights look like on the underside of the eyelids. It's pretty impressive, and as I was telling Mitchell, I felt like for a while there I was sitting by the creek, and "Oh brother, where art thou?" and the sirens were playing nice music for me. But it's a really sweet experience, and then I believe Garnet said in the next 2 hours after the experience, there's very heightened neuroplasticity possibilities, and for the next 24 hours there will be quite a few neuroplasticity possibilities. So he gave me an exercise to do. I think I'd told you about that one.
Right.
Like scanning the environment for 5 objects and remembering them, and then seeing if I could say them in reverse.
Yes.
And remember what they were, and start to make some different brain connections, where the neurons can come out of their familiar spots and connect somewhere else.
And that's one of the many ways that you can do that neuroplasticity.
Sure, and I know there's a lot of ways, and you're going to have me do the Zaz machine, right? And
but more than that.
Get some in the body.
Yeah.
Uh-oh, more than that?
Oh, yeah.
Uh-oh. I knew she said it on a program that makes me listen to her more. I knew it. You know, she said it was going to be a relaxing program, but I should have watched, you know. Make sure you trust the person on the computer. You can...
Yeah, so because it is a relaxing program and we did deep tranquility, one of the many things that really empowers the neuroplasticity experience is meditation techniques. And there's one that was developed by a pretty well-known Taoist teacher, Dr. Mantak Chia, and he wrote a book called The Inner Smile. And so I thought I might just take Dr. Massey and all of us through a few moments of the experience of the inner smile and give you an idea how you can use this for any part of your body where you might be hurting. You know, if you have a muscle that's tight, if you have a thought that is plaguing you, if you have pain in your belly or anywhere, you can take a moment and send a smile, your own inner smile, and that has a profound inner plasticity kind of an effect which helps your body to learn to heal itself and to bring deep relaxation to itself. And I just want to put out a thought for you to chew on for a little bit, and that's the idea that anything that we do in a relaxed way, we learn from it a lot easier than if we're frightened or contracted or anxious. So by taking a few moments, if there's something important that's coming up that you're going to be doing, and really once you know how to do the inner smile, you can just take one breath and feel the smile fill your whole body. So let's take a moment to do this together. Is that okay with you?
So will I still be a real man in Southeast Texas if I do the inner smile? Am I going to have to dip some snuff in a minute to sort of balance this out?
Well, Mantak Chia is an amazing martial artist, and he could kick
Okay.
butt.
All right,
I mean,
there
he
you go.
could
All
really
right.
kick butt.
All right, so we can do it then.
So if you really want to be able to be a great martial artist and kick butt, it might be helpful to be able to meditate too.
Okay, all right.
Find that center in the eye of the needle, or the center of the chaos or the storm. Okay. All right, so let's just take a minute and just see what it feels like to let our eyelids slowly come down and close. And let's just let a deep, natural breath arise within us. And if you want to take an extra moment at some time, you could just kind of slowly scan your body and just be aware of any place that might be tight or uncomfortable. And just be aware of it. And now, if you would, just allow the tiniest little movement, maybe even imperceptible to the eye, of your lips, the outer part of your lips, to just gently open up just a little bit into the tiniest of imperceptible smiles. And quietly take a deep breath in through your nose and out through your nose. See what that feels like. And I know we don't have lips in other parts of our bodies, but let's just for a moment perhaps take that smile up to your forehead. Just feel a gentle, slight little smile. your forehead. And be aware of an inhale and an exhale. And then when you're done with that smile, just for now, because we don't have a lot of time today, let's just slowly be aware of the smile staying with you. See how it feels in the rest of your body to carry that smile. And then just gently let your eyelids open and bring the smile back with you. So Dr. Massey, if you want a homework assignment to help you deepen your process that you just did, I'd recommend that you find 3 or 4 times today to just do one inner smile. It can take 10 seconds, or you could take longer if you want. And I find when we do these little processes like this, even if it's just an inner smile, single breath, it helps to have a trigger. So I've used as a trigger, if you drive a lot, every time you hit a red light. Of course, you wouldn't do this with your eyes closed. You just let the gentle inner smile come up with your eyes open. If you're at work, perhaps every time you open or close a door, you could just take 10 seconds to experience an inner smile. But at some point, you can find whatever is a good trigger for you to remember to do that. And then just notice if you feel different before you go to bed that night and how you slept in the morning. So that's one really lovely way to support your process, whatever it is that you're doing. It doesn't have to necessarily be the neuro light, although we'd love to see you and love to share the neuro light with you and even tell you how you could purchase your own if you wanted to do that. They're a little pricey, but some people it's worth it for them. And then the other thing I wanted to tell you is that today we didn't go through the intake process, and we're not going to do that right now. But I wanted you to know that it's also a very important part of the NeuroLight program, is that when we get together with somebody that we're going to work with, that we really take time to be present with them. And for me as the practitioner, I would put my full attention on, in this case, Dr. Massey, and be present to him and to ask him what's going on for him and what he'd like to receive from this session. And sometimes people have a hard time knowing what they want. Dr. Massey was very clear what he wanted. But we help people to see if there's something that they want more of in their life, or something that they want less of in their life. Or, if somebody were going to bring that magic Aladdin's lamp and rub on it for you and, give you a wish of a different way to be, or something that you really need or want in your life, what would that be? And then we'd look at how the NeuroLight, one of its 80 programs, may be beneficial for you. So I've mentioned a few times that moving the body, exercising the body is exercising the brain. And I have a wonderful little piece of equipment here called Zaz. It's a plate that goes up and down and goes through all these different speeds of up and down, which also supports neuroplasticity because it's giving the brain all these different frequencies. Dr. Massey was listening to what sounded like beautiful music. Mm-hmm. That was different frequencies. But one of the things that surprised me when I was studying with Garnet Dupuis is that he told me that underneath that were binaural beats, and all of these sounds that we know affect different parts of the brain. And many of them are very unpleasant to listen to. Some of them can sound like somebody scratching a blackboard, or really deep, guttural, scary sounds, but they're embedded and they're underneath the compositions of beautiful music and nature sounds that we consciously hear, while our brain is being given this medicine that's kind of like I was telling Mitchell, it's kind of like a 7-course meal of nourishment for whatever quality or effect we want to receive from the neurolight. So let's take you over here to the Zaz, Dr. Massey, and let you experience a little bit more physical integration. But before we do, is there anything else you'd like to say?
No, I'm good. Do I have to wear the Speedo again, though, on the Zaz? Or can
No, you don't have to change clothes.
Okay.
As you noticed, you didn't have to get naked or anything to get on the table to do this
Good.
wonderful process. Okay, but this is the Zaz, and you might want to get up on it and just kind of take a look out. Fortunately, the windows are not clean, but the idea is, let me get a gentle one on here. See the plate? So this one goes through a series of, oh, that's a high one. Just you can balance and you can give people that little feeling of that they're actually on the Zaz with you.
Oh yeah, that's
Pretty interesting, huh? So when you put your feet out further, you get more jiggle. So wider stance, and then just changing your focus, like bend your knees softly, and that's okay, and then bend them less. Okay, now tighten your belly. Feel how it changes the focus. Mm-hmm. Tighten your buttocks.
yeah.
So you work all these different muscles really gently, and when you exercise the body, you exercise the brain.
That's cool.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we like to do a little bit of Zaz afterwards to help integrate, but we also like to choose a specific program, a specific something to exercise the brain. So, it might be an inner smile process.